Good to have you with us. Welcome to Nightline. I'm Raymond Goh. The headlines today. Attempts to make rulers unhappy with government will fail, says Prime Minister. And WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange arrested in London. We begin with this story. Attempts by certain parties to make the rulers unhappy with the current government will not succeed. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said the government is elected by the people through democratic processes.
They single out Rome, Treaty of Rome and things like that. But it's not going to succeed. It will fail. They can try their life.
Why will it fail?
It will fail because this government is elected by the people. And this is a democracy.
He was speaking to reporters after launching the Malaysian Auto Show 2019 in Serdang, Selangor on Thursday. Foreign Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah was reported recently as saying that the Cabinet's reversal of its decision to ratify the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court was a political move done for fear of a coup d'etat attempt spurred on by powers behind the scenes. He also said history had shown that a coup d'etat is a common reaction to democratic advancement and the public rising up following an election, and it is usually instigated by the deep state. Meanwhile, Tun Dr. Mahathir has dismissed Johor UMNO's suggestion that Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin be appointed Johor Menteri Besar. He said Tan Sri Muhyiddin, who is also the Home Minister, has something else to do.
It is the winning party which names Menteri Besar, not the losers. The losers keep quiet.
The Prime Minister was also asked regarding the statement on Wednesday by the Sultan of Johor, Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar, calling on certain quarters to stop meddling in matters concerning the state.
I don't know, because I believe Johor is a part of this country. Unless, of course, it's a foreign country, I don't interfere in the internal affairs of foreign countries.
Tun Dr. Mahathir on Tuesday announced the resignation of Dr. Osman Sapian as the Johor Menteri Besar effective April 8th. Dr. Osman was the 16th Menteri Besar of Johor and is Johor's shortest-serving Menteri Besar, less than 11 months after taking his oath of office on May 12 last year. In Subang, Selangor, Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Bersatu President Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said Bersatu has 2 to 3 names for the Johor MB post. However, he declined to name them. Speaking to reporters after visiting the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency's air station at the Sultan Abdulaziz Shah Airport on Thursday, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said their names would be presented to the Sultan of Johor, Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar, soon.
Dan Sultan akan memutuskan berdasarkan nama yang dikemukakan oleh parti yang mempunyai kursi yang terbanyak dalam Dewan Negeri. Parti macam sekarang ini adalah Pakatan Harapan.
He pointed out that the vacancy of the MB post will be filled quickly to facilitate the state administration. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also dismissed calls from the Johor opposition to dissolve the State Legislative Assembly to pave way for a fresh election to form the state government. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad reiterated that the third national car and the automotive industry are crucial to the country. He said the exports of Malaysian cars and components in 2018 that reached 2 billion ringgit and 12 billion ringgit respectively demonstrated the importance of the automotive industry to the larger economy. Speaking at the opening of the 2019 Malaysia Auto Show on Thursday, Tun Dr. Mahathir said a new national car project would spark a technology cluster as well as promote learning of the latest automotive engineering technologies. He said the automotive sector can generate spin-offs for the entire Malaysian economy so that it can be calibrated with global developments.
Di Malaysia terdapat 27 pengeluar jenama kenderaan. merangkumi jenama nasional dan antarabangsa. Di samping itu, terdapat lebih daripada 700 vendor, 53,000 pengedar, penjual dan pusat servis, dan juga lebih 700,000 individu yang bekerja di dalam sektor otomotif dan mobility.
The Malaysia Auto Show 2019, which is organized by Malaysia Automotive, Robotics and IoT Institute, MARI, is expected to attract nearly 350,000 visitors from within and outside Malaysia. A total of 32 OEM car manufacturers and 170 exhibitors from 7 countries have taken part in Malaysia's largest vehicle exhibition. At the event, Tun Dr. Mahathir also launched the new limited edition Perodua Beza, as well as the 2019 versions of Proton Iris and Persona. Meanwhile, Proton Holdings Berhad may soon assemble its best-selling X70 locally with the expansion of the national car maker's facility in Tanjung Malim, Perak, which is set to be completed soon. Its parent, DRB Highcom Berhad, said the company is currently running some quality tests with its vendors for the model's completely knocked-down CKD units.
This is the first time that we are producing foreign cars, in total, and also kita punya vendors punya quality, to step up. So there's we suspect there will be a lot of reworking, yang orang yang buat bumper, yang buat dashboard, and all that, a lot of reworking back and forth sampai kita happy, because we want to produce a supreme quality of CKD.
The expansion of Proton's Tanjung Malim facility is expected to complete in the third quarter of this year, with assembly lines for the CKD units set to be ready around October. To date, Proton has received some 20,000 bookings for its completely built unit CBU X70 since its launch date last year. Disabled or OKU drivers will be able to apply for Public Service Vehicle or PSV licenses from May this year. Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook said this will enable the drivers with e-hailing companies to continue working following the ruling that all e-hailing drivers must possess a PSV license that comes into effect on July 12th.
What they need to do is just to get a verification from a clinic, from hospital, just to say that they are fit to drive. So as long as they have that medical certificate, then they can register for the PSV.
Currently, there are about 400 OKU drivers registered with e-hailing operators. Meanwhile, Loke reiterated that his ministry will not extend the July 12 deadline for e-hailing drivers to undergo the PSV course to obtain the license. To date, more than 1,000 e-hailing drivers have already applied for the PSV license. A motion has been tabled in the Dewan Rakyat to have former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak referred to the Rights and Privileges Committee for breaking the embargo on the Felda White Paper. In tabling the motion, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Liew Vui Keong, said the White Paper carried an embargo of 11:30 a.m. on April 10th, but was uploaded to the social media by Datuk Sri Najib at 5:39 p.m. on April 9th.
Perbuatan yang berhormat pekan jelas melanggar Peraturan Mesyuarat 95A, Peraturan Majlis Mesyuarat Dewan Rakyat dan disifatkan telah melakukan suatu perbuatan menghina majlis. Maka inilah dipersetujui bahawa yang berhormat pekan hendaklah dirujuk kepada jawatankuasa hak dan kebebasan.
Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad on Wednesday chided Datuk Sri Najib for his reckless move and said that serious action will be taken against him. The Pekan MP broke the embargo placed on the Felda White Paper when he made a Facebook post on the matter and shared a portion of the document. Still in the Dewan Rakyat, Deputy Prime Minister Dato Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said the government has opted to appoint a Children's Commissioner instead of establishing a Children's Commission to resolve issues relating to the protection of children. She said the move is seen as a more practical option in the shorter term to resolve all relevant issues, including better monitoring of children's welfare.
Pada masa ini kerajaan ingin menumpukan terlebih dahulu kepada pelantikan seorang Pesuruhjaya kanak-kanak di bawah struktur yang sedia ada di bawah Suhakam. Pesuruhjaya yang akan dilantik ini sekurang-kurangnya boleh meneliti terlebih dahulu gambaran menyeluruh pelaksanaan hak kanak-kanak di Malaysia. Pemerhatian lanjut seterusnya boleh dipertimbangkan untuk menubuhkan sebuah Pesuruhjaya yang ideal untuk kanak-kanak pada masa depan.
Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah said this when replying to a question from Datuk Sri Azalina Othman's side, who wanted to know the status of the setting up of an independent children's commission that was said to have been under consideration. She said the commissioner would act as a point of reference for all parties, government or otherwise, in addressing issues pertaining to children's welfare in the country. The Housing and Local Government Ministry plans to introduce the Consumer Credit Act in a bid to enable consumers to obtain loans from Sharia-compliant loan companies. Its Minister Zuraida Kamarudin said a town hall session has been held with various government agencies to get their feedback on the matter.
Walau bagaimanapun di peringkat KPKT kami sedang menggubal akta kredit pengguna, yang mana dalam akta kredit pengguna akan kita serapkan sekali berlandaskan pinjaman berlandaskan syariah. Jadi yang ini kita telah duduk dan adakan town hall session pada 19 Februari.
Zuraida said all licensed money lending or community credit companies which are registered with the ministry can refer to the Sharia panel companies to get the Sharia-compliant licenses. On April 5th, registered licensed moneylenders under the ministry were rebranded as the Credit Community. TNB, under pressure, pushes KLCI to December 2016 low. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Tenaga Nasional Berhad's TNB stock slumped to its lowest since September 30th, 2015, after its largest shareholder, Khazanah Nasional Berhad, traded 85 million shares off-market at 12 ringgit 33 sen each, or 25 sen below Wednesday's close. The utility giant fell 52 sen, or 4.13%, to 12 ringgit and 6 sen at the close on Thursday, after Khazanah offered to sell the shares under a share placement to raise 1.05 billion ringgit. Khazanah was the largest shareholder in the power giant at 28.76%, or 1.635 billion shares prior to the sale, and remains the largest shareholder by a wide margin, even after the sale. This is followed by the Employees Provident Fund with 14.05%, while Skim Amanah Saham Bumiputra owns 9.1% and KWAP 5.45%. The Royal Customs Department seized 24 million cigarette sticks with a total value and unpaid taxes of 19 million ringgit after impounding a vessel in Langkawi last Saturday. Kedah Royal Customs Department Director Dato Johari Alifia said the total value of the cigarettes was 3 million ringgit. Speaking in a press conference on Thursday, Dato Johari said in the 5:30 p.m. incident, the vessel was heading to Yangon in Myanmar after departing Batam port in Indonesia on March 30th. The vessel, however, had detoured from its original route on the pretext of refueling. Dato Johari added the detour was believed to be a tactic to smuggle the cigarettes from the vessel. He said a skipper and 9 crew members from Indonesia aged 22 to 36 were remanded for 14 days until April 20th to assist in investigations. The case is being investigated under Section 135, Subsection 1A of the Customs Act 1967. In Selangor, skeletal remains believed to be that of a woman were found in an abandoned rubber plantation at University Tenaga Nasional Uni 10 in Sepang Thursday morning. The remains without identification documents were found by a surveyor who was carrying out survey work at the university area together with his colleague. Police have classified the case as murder. Meanwhile, in Kuala Lumpur, a businessman has been charged at the Ampang Magistrates Court with cheating 2 victims using forged documents 4 years ago. 33-year-old J. Mahendran, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge after it was read out to him before Magistrate Halinda A. Rauf. If convicted, he will face a maximum imprisonment of 10 years and fine under Section 468 of the Penal Code, and the court set bail at 5,000 ringgit with 1 surety and fixed May 24th for remention. Meanwhile, in Perak, a civil servant and a company manager were separately remanded 6 and 5 days respectively at the Ipoh Magistrates Court to facilitate investigations earlier on Thursday. The suspects, aged 44 and 39, allegedly misused 3.5 million ringgit of government funds intended for supply works of the Sukma Games for their own personal gains. The case is being investigated under Section 7A and Section 23 of the SPRM Act 2009. Over in Malacca, a resident of a welfare association centre was charged in the Malacca Magistrates Court for the murder of his friend early this month. Ridwan Abdul Samad, 38, was charged with murdering Maslin Sabtu, 53, who was also a resident at the same centre on April 1st. He is charged under Section 302 of the Penal Code, which provides for a mandatory death sentence if found guilty. The court set May 10th for a remention of the case while waiting for the report on the mental health of the accused. Up next, EU leaders set October 31st as new Brexit deadline. Details when we come back. On to the foreign front now. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was convicted on Thursday by a London court of skipping bail in 2012 after an extradition order from Sweden over an allegation of rape. Earlier, Assange was arrested by UK police on Thursday at the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he had been holed up since 2012. The arrest came after Ecuador dropped Assange's asylum status, effectively evicting him from the embassy, paving the way for his extradition to the United States. Ecuador's President Lenin Moreno said in a tweet that his government withdrew Assange's status for repeated violations of international conventions. Assange took refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy 7 years ago to avoid extradition to Sweden over a sexual assault case that has since been dropped. The WikiLeaks founder shot to prominence in 2010 when his site published a cache of leaks from the US military provided by Chelsea Manning, including videos showing US troops killing civilians. Sudan's army has removed President Omar al-Bashir from power after 30 years following months of protest that escalated at the weekend when demonstrators began a sit-in outside the Defense Ministry compound in central Khartoum. Sudanese Defense Minister and Army General Awad Ibn Auf, in a statement broadcast on state media, said Bashir had been arrested in a safe place. He said the military council will take control of the country for 2 years, after which elections would be held. He also declared a 3-month state of emergency and the suspension of the 2005 constitution, as well as the closure of Sudan's airspace for 24 hours and of border crossings until further notice. Bashir has ruled for 30 years and is currently wanted by the International War Crimes Tribunal for atrocities in Darfur. Up next, the 2019 Le Tour de Langkawi. Pelucci sprints to second straight stage win. On to sports now, cycling the 2019 Le Tour de Langkawi. Italian Matteo Pellucci picked up his second podium victory after winning stage 6 from Bagan to Alostar on Thursday. The chief judge, however, declared that the top 10 finishers, including Pellucci, clocked the same time of 3 hours 29 minutes 4 seconds after he pipped two Terengganu cycling team riders, Youssef Reguigui and Mohamad Harif Saleh, in a bunch sprint towards the finish line to win the 130.8-kilometer race. Despite the result, it was still not enough for the Italian to steal the yellow jersey from Benjamin Dyball as the general classification leader. Travis McCabe retained his green jersey as the sprint king, while Angus Leon maintained his grip on the red polka dot jersey as the king of the mountain. The race also saw Astana's Vadim Pronsky retaining his white jersey as the best Asian rider. The 7th stage will commence on Friday, covering 106.8 kilometers in Pantai Chenang, Langkawi. And the sports action wraps up Nightline this time around. We leave you now with this video of the Songkran celebration where a dozen elephants spray water on joyous revelers. With that, I'm Raymond Goh. Thank you.